The morning sun rose slowly over the African savannah, turning the wide plain into a sea of gold. Dust drifted in the air like soft smoke, swirling around the tall grass as a warm breeze swept across the land. The ground shimmered with heat, and the air carried the hum of distant insects, the quiet calls of birds, and the deep rumble of elephants far away. It was a peaceful day, the kind that makes the world feel endless and safe. Near a small waterhole, a baby rhino stood beside its mother. The calf was young and still learning how to balance its heavy body. Every few steps, it stumbled or tripped over its own feet, sending small clouds of dust into the air. Its mother watched patiently, her large horn casting a shadow over her child as she grazed. The bond between them was strong, a quiet thread of love that could be felt even from a distance. Every twitch of the mother's ear, every gentle nudge of her head, was a silent promise of protection. Dragonflies hovered above the water, glinting blue and green under the morning sun. A family of antelopes came to drink nearby, their reflections rippling on the surface. For a moment, all seemed perfect, the kind of peace that only nature can create. But peace in the wild never lasts forever. High on a rocky outcrop, a lion lay stretched across the warm stone. His golden mane caught the wind, fluttering like fire. He watched the waterhole below with quiet eyes, not the eyes of a hunter, but of something older, wiser. Scars lined his face, each one a story of battles fought and survived. He had hunted enough, fought enough, seen enough. Now he watched the world not out of hunger, but out of habit. The lion's gaze drifted toward the baby rhino. The calf's clumsy play seemed to amuse him. His tail flicked lazily, but his ears stayed alert. Even in peace, a lion never truly rests. The mother rhino raised her head. Her nostrils flared, catching something faint on the breeze. It wasn't the scent of lion or leopard. This was different, sharper, colder. It smelled of metal, oil, and something that didn't belong here, the scent of man. Her muscles tensed. She gave a low grunt, deep and uneasy. The baby rhino froze, confused by the sudden change in her tone. The wind shifted again, and the scent faded. The mother lowered her head but didn't relax. Her instincts whispered warnings that her mind couldn't name. Around her, the plains looked the same, bright, beautiful, alive. Yet something beneath the surface had changed. The lion sensed it too. His gaze sharpened, and his tail stopped moving. A vulture circled overhead, its wings cutting slow shadows across the ground. Even the birds had fallen silent. The savannah, moments ago full of sound, now seemed to hold its breath. The baby rhino trotted a few steps away, curious about a group of butterflies dancing above a patch of yellow grass. Their wings shimmered in the sunlight, and the calf followed them, stumbling with every bound. The mother grunted softly, warning her child not to go too far. But like all young ones, curiosity was stronger than caution. Step by step, the baby wandered toward the tall grass, where the earth looked disturbed, where human hands had once touched the soil. The lion rose to his feet. He stared down at the calf, then glanced toward the mother. His instincts urged him to stay still, to let nature take its course. Yet something deep inside, something even he didn't understand, made him hesitate. His eyes narrowed as he scanned the ground beyond the waterhole. The grass there moved differently, as if breathing beneath the wind. A soft metallic click echoed through the air. The mother rhino jerked her head up, her eyes wide. The lion froze. For a moment, everything was still. The calf, unaware of what lurked below, lowered its head to sniff the ground. Then the wind picked up again, carrying the distant cry of a hawk, and the sound vanished, as if swallowed by the earth itself. Afternoon light poured over the savannah. The animals returned to their routines. The antelopes moved on. The dragonflies vanished. The mother and her calf lay resting near the edge of the waterhole, shadows stretching long and thin across the dirt. Yet unease lingered, like a storm waiting just beyond the horizon. As the day grew hotter, the air filled with the scent of dry grass and warm dust. A herd of zebras passed nearby, their hooves stirring soft clouds as they moved toward the open plain. The lion followed them with his eyes but made no move to chase. He had eaten days ago. Hunger wasn't what drove him now, it was something harder to name, a feeling that the balance of this land was about to break. The mother rhino stirred. Her baby was sleeping, chest rising and falling in slow rhythm. She looked toward the rocky hill where the lion stood. Their eyes met for a brief second, predator and prey, bound by the same landscape, the same unspoken understanding. Neither moved. The wind whispered through the reeds, carrying the smell of rain somewhere far away. But as the sun dipped lower, turning the sky into a deep, burning orange, the peaceful hum of the savannah began to change. The cries of birds grew restless. A troop of baboons chattered nervously in the trees. Somewhere beyond the waterhole, metal glinted faintly under the dying light. A silent trap waiting for the first step of innocence. The lion turned his head, uneasy. His ears twitched toward the sound of creaking grass, the faint echo of something man-made buried beneath nature's disguise. He couldn't see it, but he felt it, like a thorn pressing into the heart of the wild. A part of him wanted to roar, to drive every creature away from the danger. But he didn't, not yet. The world around him was holding its breath, and so did he. Night approached slowly. The air cooled, and a thin fog began to roll across the plain. The waterhole shimmered under the fading light, turning gold to silver. The baby rhino woke and nuzzled close to its mother, comforted by her warmth. She brushed her horn gently against its side, letting out a deep sigh. Her eyes scanned the darkness again and again, searching for what she couldn't see. On the horizon, lightning flashed, a silent warning from the sky. The lion watched it too, his mane glowing under each pulse of light. He lay down once more, but his eyes never closed. The savannah was quiet now, too quiet. Every breath, every rustle, every heartbeat carried a secret tension, a waiting fear. Beneath the tall grass, hidden under the soil, the metal jaws of a hunter's trap gleamed faintly, cold, sharp, and patient. And as the last colors of sunset faded away, only the wind moved, whispering through the reeds like a warning the wild could understand, but the innocent never could. The scream tore through the still morning like lightning splitting the sky. High, desperate, and full of pain, it froze every creature within hearing distance. Dust flew into the air as the baby rhino thrashed wildly, its small leg clamped tight in a hunter's metal trap. The sound of the steel biting into flesh was sharp and cruel, louder than the beating wings of startled birds that burst from the trees. The peaceful savannah that had hummed with life moments ago now trembled with panic. The mother rhino charged forward, her powerful body crashing through the grass. Her horn struck the ground beside her calf with a heavy clang, sending sparks flying off the cruel iron jaws. She tried again, grunting, pushing, slamming, but the trap didn't move. Each strike only made the calf cry louder. Blood mixed with dust, painting the earth a deep, dark red. The air was filled with the rhythm of chaos, the pounding of hooves, the shrieks of frightened monkeys, the dry rustle of grass shaking in waves. The baby's eyes were wide with terror, rolling white as it tried to pull away. The more it fought, the tighter the trap bit. Its mother stood beside it, helpless and trembling, breathing hard through flared nostrils. The smell of blood, oil, and metal filled the air, thick and choking. From the edge of the plain, hidden among the acacia trees, the lion lifted his head. He had heard that scream too. His body tensed, every muscle awake. For a moment, instinct told him it was the sound of prey, an opportunity, an easy hunt. But when he stepped out from the shadows and saw what waited ahead, something inside him shifted. The sight stopped him cold. A tiny rhino calf writhing in pain, its mother desperate, the cruel shape of human steel glinting in the sun. The lion's amber eyes flickered. This wasn't a hunt, it was suffering. And it wasn't nature's doing. He walked forward slowly, his paws silent on the dust. The heat shimmered around his mane, turning it into a golden halo that rippled with each step. The mother rhino turned, lowering her horn toward him, ready to defend. Her cry was low and warning, a sound that told every predator on the plain to keep away. But the lion didn't charge. He didn't roar. He stopped a few paces away, head low, tail still. The calf screamed again, a small, broken sound. It kicked weakly, and the lion's ears twitched. His eyes softened. Something old stirred within him, a memory of his own cub once caught in a thorn bush, crying until the pride freed it. He remembered the helpless sound of a young life begging for help. The mother rhino scraped her hoof against the ground, torn between fear and exhaustion. She could not move closer without hurting her child again, and she could not fight the lion without leaving it behind. Her body quivered with rage and pain. The lion took another slow step forward, the muscles in his shoulders rolling like waves beneath his skin. For a long moment, nothing moved except the heat between them. Even the wind held still. Then the lion did something no one expected. He crouched down. His movements were slow, careful, not the quick, deadly grace of a hunter, but the cautious stillness of an animal that meant no harm. His nose twitched as he sniffed the trap, studying the strange metal smell. The mother hissed out a deep grunt of warning, but she didn't charge this time. She watched. Her instincts screamed to fight, yet something about the lion's calm made her pause. The lion's paw brushed the edge of the trap. The calf cried out again, the sound piercing the air like glass breaking. The lion jerked back, startled, but then leaned in again, his whiskers brushing the cold steel. He growled, not at the rhino but at the trap itself. A deep, rumbling growl that echoed across the plain, shaking the stillness out of every hidden corner. Birds burst from the trees again. The air vibrated with tension. The lion pressed his paw harder, testing the spring that held the trap shut. The metal groaned. It didn't open, but it moved. The baby whimpered softly, watching him with frightened eyes. The mother took a step forward now. Her breathing slowed, the fear inside her turning into a strange kind of hope. She didn't understand what this lion was doing, but she sensed something different, something that didn't belong in the old rules of predator and prey. The lion growled again, louder this time, muscles straining as he pressed down on the rusty mechanism. The metal jaws shuddered, clanking against each other with a screech. Dust rose in the air. Sweat darkened the lion's mane. He pushed again, his claws scraping until sparks jumped off the trap. And then suddenly the spring snapped. The jaws loosened. The calf yelped in pain as the pressure on its leg released, its body collapsing into the dirt. Blood flowed freely now, but the crushing weight was gone. The lion stepped back quickly, panting, his eyes fixed on the calf. He didn't move closer, didn't attack. He just stood there, chest rising and falling in heavy rhythm, his breath sounding like the wind itself. The mother rushed to her child, nudging it gently with her horn. The calf whimpered but managed to move its legs slightly. It wasn't free yet, but it could breathe again. The lion lowered his head, watching them. He let out a deep, tired sigh, a sound that seemed to carry both pain and peace. Hidden behind a cluster of bushes, two rangers watched through binoculars. They had followed signs of poachers earlier that morning but had never expected to see this. One ranger whispered, "He's helping them." The other didn't answer. They were too stunned to speak. All they could do was record, their cameras trembling as they captured something that defied everything they thought they knew. The lion stood there for another long moment, the wind tugging gently at his mane. He glanced at the mother rhino one last time. Their eyes met, hers filled with confusion and exhaustion, his filled with something deeper than hunger. For a brief second, predator and prey shared an understanding. This wild world, cruel and beautiful, still had space for mercy. Then the lion turned away. He walked slowly back toward the rocks, his paws leaving deep prints in the dust. The sky above him was turning the color of fire. The air smelled of blood and heat and change. Behind him, the mother rhino stayed close to her baby, licking the wound, whispering soft, breathy grunts of comfort. The trap lay broken beside them, twisted and useless, glinting in the dying light. The wind picked up again, brushing through the grass, carrying the scent of both life and iron away. The rangers lowered their cameras. The plains began to breathe again. As the sun sank below the horizon, the lion disappeared into the tall grass, swallowed by shadows. The baby rhino rested its head against its mother's side, eyes heavy, safe for now. And for the first time in a long while, the savannah felt still again, as if the world itself was quietly rewriting its rules. The air was thick with heat and dust. The smell of blood hung heavy, sweet and iron-like, drifting over the dry grass. The baby rhino lay trembling, one leg twisted and raw from the trap. Its mother stood close, sides heaving, eyes wide with both rage and fear. A few steps away, the lion waited, still silent, his chest rising and falling as though the weight of the entire plain pressed down on him. The lion's growl rolled low across the ground, not as a warning, but as something gentler, almost a whisper meant to calm. The baby flinched at the sound but did not try to move. The mother shifted her body to stand between her calf and the lion, dust swirling around her massive frame. But the lion did not advance. He only took a slow step closer, golden eyes never leaving the cruel iron snare. The rangers watching from the brush held their breath. Their cameras shook in their hands. None of them had ever seen anything like this. A predator standing over prey, not in hunger, but in hesitant care. The lion circled the calf slowly, his movements deliberate, his tail flicking side to side. Each step left a print in the dust, heavy and deep. He lowered his head and sniffed the trap again. The metal still smelled of man, oil, sweat, and something that didn't belong here. His ears twitched. The mother gave a deep grunt, warning him not to come any closer, but he didn't stop. The lion pressed one paw onto the spring. The metal groaned in protest. The calf cried out, a weak, frightened sound that echoed across the plain. The lion paused, then looked up at the mother rhino. For a long second, their eyes met, predator and protector, both bound by something neither of them could name. The world around them seemed to fall away, leaving only breath, heat, and heartbeats. He tried again. His claws scraped against the trap's hinge, pulling and pressing. The sharp edge cut his paw, dark drops of blood falling into the dust. The smell of his own blood mixed with the rhino's, turning the air heavy and raw. The lion ignored it. He pressed harder, muscles straining. His teeth bared not in anger but in effort. Would fade by morning. Behind him, the mother rhino licked her calf's wound, cleaning away the dirt and blood. The baby trembled but stayed close, pressing against her side. The broken trap lay half buried in dust, a cruel reminder of the world beyond this wild one. The rangers finally stepped out from their hiding place. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide with quiet awe. One of them knelt near the broken snare, touching the bent metal carefully. He did this, he said softly. A lion freed a rhino. The other ranger nodded slowly, as if afraid that speaking louder might shatter the fragile magic of what they'd just seen. They didn't move closer to the animals. They didn't need to. This moment didn't belong to them. Far ahead, the lion paused at the crest of a hill. The wind tugged at his mane, carrying dust and scent and the faint echo of the calves breathing behind him. He looked back once. Not at the humans, not even at the rhinos, but at the place where he had stood between life and death. His eyes reflected the setting sun, ancient and knowing. Then he turned again and disappeared into the tall grass, swallowed by the wild. Silence returned to the plains. The only sound was the slow rustle of grass and the soft hum of distant insects. The air felt lighter now, the tension broken. The mother rhino lowered her head beside her baby. They rested there as the light faded, two shadows melting into one under the crimson sky. The rangers quietly packed their equipment. They would leave the trap behind as evidence, but they both knew the real story would never fit in a report. It wasn't just about rescue. It was about something deeper, something that science couldn't quite measure. As the last light faded, the first stars began to shimmer over the endless plain. The wind carried away the smell of blood, replacing it with the cool scent of night. The baby rhino sighed softly in its sleep. Its mother stood over it, a silent guardian, her breath steady and slow.